Hi everyone, welcome back, welcome to today's video. I don't know what's going on with Hachette, but I'm really pleased that they've sent out my latest delivery ahead of schedule, I think, to be quite honest. So yeah, I was really surprised that this has arrived so close to the last delivery that I had. But there you go, so we've got issue 39, 40, 41 and 50. Sorry, fuck me, where did I get 50 from? 41 and 42. We're going to look at 41 and 42 in separate videos. However, we are going to have a look at 39 and 40 together. So let's crack them open. Throw the packaging on the floor. Right, there's the plastic. Two more destroyer breaches. Let's have a look at the magazines first. Right, let's have a look at issue 39. So, let's go straight into it. Right, we're not going to get a battle record page for our destroyers because we've already had one. We had that when we got our first destroyer. I think it was issue 32. Yeah, 32 was the first time we got a destroyer, and so we got our battle record in that. So we don't get a battle record, but we do get a Xiphos battle zone end game. Obviously, this part of the campaign, the collection campaign, the Ramses war zone, the siege or battle for Xiphos, is coming to an end. So this started with issue 21. It's going to end in issue 40. It was these 20 issues that gave us the AdMech forces. So we've got this. We've just got a little battle record for the Xiphos Bastion Primus. So there we go. It also gives us Imperial victory or Necron victory, you know, depending on how your games work out. We've got a short story for our stories section in the red part, and then we've got more Forge Worlds. And what we are getting this time is Triplex, Fal, Deimos, or Deimos, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Now, Deimos is significant because it was shifted from its moon orbit around Mars into an orbit around Titan and provides the Grey Knights with their armory. We have Voss Prime and Griffin 4. We're then coming into our how to build for the next destroyer. And then we're coming into how to paint. So blue and yellow sections. In our green core rules section, we're finishing off the combat phase or melee phase, depending on how you want to view it. And then we've got the start of the morale phase. And then we have a scout mission, Stem the Tide. Despite the best efforts of Xiphos' defenders, Necron forces have begun to breach the walls of Bastion Primus. Aided by canoptic constructs, the Technomancer seeks to activate a series of miniaturized portals through which they may summon phalanxes of warriors and swarms of canoptic scarabs and overwhelm what remains of the Imperial defense. The Adeptus Mechanicus seek to activate portal disruptors and foil the plans of their Xenos foes. Now, Necrons, Technomancer, protect the portals. The ingenuity of the Technomancers knows no bounds. These Necron engineers have assembled a network of portals throughout the Imperial fortifications through which their phalanxes stride into the fight. These portals must be defended long enough for overwhelming numbers to join the battle. Adeptus Mechanicus, Tech Priest Dominus, activate the disruptors. The Tech Priests of Mars match the ingenuity of the Necrons with arcane technology of their own. By placing portal disruptors in key locations throughout Bastion Primus, they may be able to hamper the Necrons' transdimensional technology and prevent a crushing Necron victory. And then the Scout mission proper, we're playing on the dark grey, one of the dark grey battle mats with our ruins kits that we've received previously, the plasma conduits and the hemotrope reactor. Mission briefing is Necron teleportation devices are sealed throughout the Bastion. Portal disruptors must be placed at the centre of this network and transdimensional beacons in order to prevent further Xenos forces from breaching the fortress. And we are playing with all our Adeptus Mechanicus models so far. So it's the Tech Priest Dominus, Tech Priest Engineer, our Skitarii Rangers and the 2 Cashfron Destroyers. And the Necrons are playing with the Technomancer, 10 Necron Warriors, 5 Immortals and the 1 Tomb Blade that we've had so far. I'm going to come on to this in a little bit. May have to come back to it. Let's have a quick look at the back page of 40 actually. No, I can do it on 40. But looking forward, we've got the last Breacher or Destroyer and then a Necron Chronomancer. Now, coming into Imperium issue 40, we've got the Fall of Cadia, the Wars for Armageddon, a new mission pack and mission. Right, Adeptus Mechanicus Unsanctioned Divergence. So talking about divergent tech priests, and we have a random generator chart to determine unsanctioned divergent for your Tech Priest Dominus and Tech Priest Engineer with associated effect on their Skitarii Ranger and Cashfron Destroyer mana pools. So a little bit of fun there. We have obviously the Fall of Cadia information here. And we've got brief outline of Call, Celestine and Greyfax, who were part of the fight for Cadia. Information on Salamanders, one of the founding legions. And then Warzone Armageddon. We have information here for Admech, Belisarius Call, Arch Magos Dominus, Prime Conduit of the Omnisire. I do want to get his model. Now we have blue section, the last part of the how to build for the destroyers. To be honest, they're all very similar in the way that they go together. And there's just a few little bits and pieces that are slightly different, which I will call out. Now, again, painting. We're not getting any paints in this next set of 4 that I've had delivered. So that's the first set of 4 magazines that I've had delivered where I've had no paints. So we have Scout Mission 18, Fall of Siphos. Imperial and Necron forces are engaged in a vicious battle throughout the strongholds and ramparts of the Fortress Moon. The force who emerged victorious from the Battle of Bastion Primus, C, Theatre of War 03 and A, Scout 17, now seeks to inflict a final crushing blow on their opponents, driving them from the moon's surface and securing Siphos. For good. The fate of the Fortress Moon is about to be decided. So, Necron's Overlord, Indomitable Legions, the Zarakan dynasty's mighty legions have inflicted terrible damage upon Siphos' facilities and the armies of the Imperium. Their Overlord commander expects nothing less than total victory over their Imperial opponents, and his troops have no intention of backing down. The Necrons will fight to the last. Adeptus Mechanicus, Tech Priest Dominus, and numberless mana pools. The red planet's honour is at stake. Lose their grip on Xiphos, and the reputation of Mars will be struck a terrible blow. I didn't think the reputation of Mars was that good anyway, consider some of the things that their tech priests have done in the name of furthering research, etc. As will the Imperial war effort in the Ramses system. Whether on the attack or desperately holding the line against an implacable Necron foe, the remaining Martian forces will give no ground. So what are we playing with? We're actually playing with quite a few. And we're using 2 battle mats. Two of the pale grey battle mats here. So, mission briefing. The player who emerged victorious from the previous mission A must launch a final assault on their opponent's broken forces. The defender must hold their position and hope to repel the overconfident opponent's assault. So, Necrons, forces in play. You've got 1 Overlord, 10 Warriors, 5 Immortals, 3 Scarab Swarms, 3 Scorpec Destroyers, and 1 Canoptic Spider. And the Ultramarines, you have the Captain, Tech Priest Dominus, Tech Priest Engine Seer, the 3 Skitari, the 3 Cataphrone Destroyers now, and the aggressors, the 3 aggressors that we've had earlier. We are using, as I said, 2 of the pale grey battle mats. They do slide together. I did put some photos showing how they went together in issue, when I reviewed issue 38. So towards the end of that video you'll see some photos. And we're having our 2 sets of ruined buildings, part of the pipe work, our 3 Munitorum containers along with barrels and crates, and the hemotrope reactor. And it looks like we've got 3 primary mission objectives. So then they're playing a dominate the battlefield progressive objective. So there you go. Right, summing up and looking forward to, issue 41 we've got the Chronomancer, and issue 42 we have the Canoness. So 41 to 60 is going to introduce the Battle Sisters. Now I just want to take time to have a quick look at this. So as I said, 41 to 60 we're introducing the Battle Sisters. We're going to get the 3 big sprues that come with the Sisters of Battle Combat Patrol, which will give us 10 Sisters of Battle, 5 Seraphim, 4 Sisters Repentia, and a Sister Repentia Superior, 3 Arco-Flagellants, and the Canoness. But it looks like we're also going to get our 3 bikes from the Outrider bikes that first made an appearance in Indomitus. Now, as I remember, these come on 2 sprues, so you get 1 bike on 1 sprue and 2 bikes on another sprue. I'm gonna stick my neck out and turn around and say it looks like we'll probably get the first bike with 1 magazine, and then the last 2 bikes, which is a single sprue, in the next, maybe not the next magazine, but certainly we'll get them in a magazine a bit later on. It also looks like we're going to get the Necron Royal Court, which on that particular sprue, you get your Scorpec Lord, you get Chronomancer, the Plasmancer, I should say, the Canoptic Reanimator, and the Crypto Thralls, which were lovingly nicknamed Murder Buckets. It looks like we get a Triarch Stalker, or Triarch Stalker, and 3 Canoptic Wraiths, as well as our Chronomancer, which is coming in issue 41. So that's what this is looking like, and I'm gonna again stick my neck out and turn around and say we'll probably get another battle mat in issue 58, if not sooner, and then that will give us 4 that we can put together in a grid, in a 2x2 grid, to make a large battlefield. I don't know if this is going to be extra scenery. I know at some point we are going to get some more of the ruins. I believe we're going to get some more pipe work, so keep an eye out for that. And as I said, Chronomancer and Canoness. Let's have a quick look at the plastic. I shall bring you down. So 2014 sculpt. These were, and yeah, literally we've already seen from issue 32 what these look like. I actually ordered some extra kits from Forbidden Planet so that I could make a set of breaches, and what I'm going to do is in this build section I will show you how the differences that go towards making a breacher, the main differences, because essentially you're just building it as a destroyer and then adding on extra armour, so like these armour skirts and these track guards here at the front, and then there's some armour plates that go over the torso of the servitor that's hardwired into this. It's all pretty much the same. There are some slight differences with the exhaust stacks on each of these, which I may, if I remember, I may show you. But what I'll do is I'll show you how the breaches go together, and then what I will do is I will also show you how I magnetized the weapons. I think I touched on it in the issue 32 build, but I will show you how I did it in this build, and obviously how you would go about making sure that you get all the magnets around the right way. So come back and join me in a bit, and we'll show you how a breacher is made, and I'll show you how I did the magnetizing. Let's have a quick look at how a breacher goes together. So essentially I've just made up a tractor unit. Tractor units pretty much go together the same way in all of these versions. The only difference is the exhaust system is different on each one. So these are the 3 exhaust systems. All I've done with this exhaust system here is, because this was basically the exhaust outlet hole there that I've put in, and if you can see those, they are drilled out because they're just molded flat on the exhaust. So the first thing is you're going to pop on these side skirts, and these side skirts literally just pop on like so, and really all I do is a bit of glue in there, bit of glue on there, and on it goes, and that's it. And it's the same with the other side. So there you are. You then have these track guard covers which go on. Make sure that they line up. I don't know if you can see, but there is a little line here that they need to just line up with. So make sure they're far enough back for that. And just pop on your glue, and they will kind of click into place. They are keyed ever so slightly to ensure a good fit. So they just go on like so. Okay, and that's the tractor unit done for the breechers. That's very simple. The torso primarily gets made up in the same way. The difference being that you have a different gun mounting assembly. But this goes together in a similar way to the destroyers one. And it's just two halves here that slot together like so. And then it goes on to the mounting arm. And just try and work out your best rotation, like thus. Now, that's that. You're then going to add in some extra body armour on the torso. Now, you have a chest plate, and you need to make sure you get the right chest plate to go on the right miniature, or else they won't fit. And then once you've got that, just pop it in place. You also need to make sure you get the right heads. Now there are heads in the set which have lots of bits and pieces sticking out the sides of them. Don't use those heads, use the other ones which don't have anything apart from maybe an antenna, because otherwise they're not going to fit into the armoured gorget collar here. And then just pop them in place like so. And then you have this piece of waist armour which goes on, and it goes on in this position so that these plates ride up in front of the abdomen. Like thus. And that's essentially your breeches. That's how the breeches go together, essentially. Like so. And then obviously if you're gluing these, they glue into position. However you want to do it. I'm magnetising mine, and in the next bit of the video I will show you how I magnetised the weapon options for the two different types. First thing we're going to do with magnetising is show you how I put the magnet into the tractor unit. Okay, and all I do is I'm using 3mm by 2mm magnets here just because they're fairly strong. And what I've done is I've super glued a piece of plastic sprue to the end of the bottom magnet. And what I've done is I've then just continued to trim it until it is almost close to perfect. And the reason I don't want it perfect is because I use plastic weld as my glue. And what I'm going to do with plastic weld, it actually melts the glue together. Melts the glue. It melts the plastic together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a fair old amount in, and then just push down until I'm seated in the cradle in the turret ring. And then I'm going to leave that to dry. I'm not going to do anything else with it. Now that I have glued in all of the magnets, and you know, despite the fact that they're only 3mm by 2, they're still quite powerful. I've done that for the two remaining breeches that I need to build. The two remaining destroyers that I'm building. You can see I've already done it on the first breacher and destroyer that I built. And I'm taking all the polarization for the magnets from the 2 miniatures that I built previously, so that I get everything round the same way with the magnets. Now, let's have a quick look at a breacher. So on the breachers, they have a different weapon arm to the destroyers. So I'm going to be putting a magnet into the arm socket, the shoulder socket. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm literally just going to drill a 3mm hole as central as I can. And I'm drilling this once this piece has had time to really dry glue wise. Then what I've done is, this is an arm from the breacher that I have already glued a magnet into. It's from the first breacher. I'm going to start marrying that up to the arm. Sorry, it's my mistake. They're not 3mm by 2mm, they're 4mm by 2mm. And obviously once I've got the hole, unfortunately I don't have a pin vise for a 4mm drill bit. And now and then I'll make sure that that's reamed out enough, and then hopefully, all being well, that will allow me to force in the magnet. But what I'll do first is obviously pop in some super glue. So the super glue just goes on the edges, and the way I pop the magnet in is I'm going to take this off of the arm, so I've got the polarization and it's on a flat surface now, and then I can put my finger behind it, marry it up to the thing, and then I can push down, and that will put it in flush to the plastic, and it's the right way around, it's polarized the right way around. For the destroyers, putting on the magnets for the weapon arms, again, what I am doing is, when you come to build your destroyer, you get a small rounded shoulder joint which goes in here. I have flattened that off, and so that it will take the magnet a lot easier, and I've got 2mm by 1mm magnets here. And what I'm going to do is, where did that go? There it is. So again, for the destroyers, I've got a piece which has a magnet in it, so I get the polarization around the right way, like so. I'm then going to separate the magnet so that when I put it onto the arm, polarization is round the right way. So again, tiny little bit of super glue, and I'm using Gorilla super glue gel. And then I will just wait for that to go off. It won't take long and it will be set, and I'll do that for both the remaining breeches that I've got. And there you go. So that's in place so that I can then obviously marry up. And now that that's in place, I will using a 2mm drill bit. I've lost my pin vise. Oh, there it is. I will just, I won't drill all the way through the shoulder joint, but I will just gouge out a 2mm cup so that when I pop it onto the shoulder, when I pop the magnet in, it will sit squarely inside. And I'll do that to all the weapons that are going to sit on the destroyers. Yep. Right. Sorted. Now, in theory, when I slot that on, I'm going to grab a magnet, pop it on. I'm going to dab a little bit of glue so that when I force it into the drilled hole that I've just done for it, it seats properly and stays there. And then literally and as you can see, that's separated nicely and means that when it dries, I'll have the weapons magnetised brilliantly. And that's how I do the smaller weapons. Come back in a second, I'll show you how I do the main weapons. Now then, we're coming back to putting the main weapon system in. Now, this is actually big enough to mostly accept a 4x2 magnet. And all I've done is I've just used the 4mm drill bit to just ream it out properly so that there aren't any additional obstructions which will allow me to push a magnet into there. And again, taking something that I've already magnetised, okay, which will allow me to then push that into that position with the right polarisation. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop in a little bit of super glue, and then I'm going to push that into position like so, and then remove the weapon, and the magnet has stayed in place, which now means that I can magnetise the weapons and put them in nicely like thus. So what I've done is checking polarity against one that I've already magnetised. I've popped in a little bit of super glue into here, and I'm now just going to pop that in, and then that will set and that will stay in place. And I shall do that on all of the weapon arms, and although this is actually quite stiff and will stay in place, the reason that I'm adding a magnet in is just to make sure that it does stay in place, because obviously over time pushing in different weapons is going to cause it to become looser and so on. So that's how I do the main weapons on the destroyers. Now, main weapons on the breaches are just ever so slightly different, because these have a smaller housing than the destroyer. So side by side you can see that the housing is very much smaller. So what I've had to do is drill a 2mm hole, and I'm going to have to use a 2mm magnet. So with the main weapons on the breaches, because they're slightly smaller, I'm using a 2x1 magnet, and I've made sure that I've got the correct polarity, and I've put it onto the end of this drill bit, which allows me to then push it into the hole I drilled like thus, and as you can see that's in place and the correct polarity. And again, you know, making sure that I get these the right way round when I put them into the weapons. So obviously this is the polarity, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off, onto here, and then I've already pre-drilled holes into the relevant weapons, so I'm just going to little bit of super glue into the hole, and using the flat part of the blade, that is just going to get pushed into until it's flush like this, and there you go. And that's it. That's all I've done for the magnetising for all of these different weapon types, and this will allow me to swap weapons out making sure that every single weapon arm has the same polarity, and you know, literally all I've done is just drilled 2mm holes into these, and then pushed a magnet into it so that it can go on. And then obviously you've seen me magnetise, so we've got destroyers, breachers, and then the destroyers. And again, the destroyers with the weapon arm, all I've done is just made sure that it takes a 2mm magnet so that they can go on, and then obviously there you have it. So there you go, that's it, that's all I did for magnetising. Alright, I I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.